Chosen one, your funds have been credited. Listen before check. Funds being credited is often associated with urgency, reaction, and immediate action. This message asks for something different. Before checking, before responding, before moving into assumption, there is value in understanding what this moment represents. For the chosen one, funds being credited is not just a transaction. It is a signal of positioning, timing, and readiness. What arrives now does not arrive randomly. It reflects alignment that has been building quietly, often without visible confirmation. This is not about surprise. It is about recognition. Stay with this message until the very end, because clarity matters before action. Take a moment to watch fully and write your warmest wishes in the comments, and add 144 as a simple marker of alignment and shared intention. This moment is not about forcing energy, but about acknowledging it consciously. Now, chosen one, press the hype button like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's start. When funds are credited, the instinct is to react quickly, to calculate, to plan, to move. But for the chosen one, this phase calls for awareness before acceleration. What arrives now is meant to be integrated, not rushed. Integration ensures stability. Stability ensures sustainability. You may notice that your internal response is calmer than expected. This calm is important. It signals that you are not operating from lack or urgency. You are operating from readiness. This moment reflects a broader shift in how you relate to resources. Resources are no longer something you chase or defend. They are something you manage with clarity. This shift has been developing over time. You may recall periods where effort felt disproportionate to return. Those periods were not wasted. They were recalibrating your relationship with value, patience, and discernment. Funds being credited also bring responsibility. Not pressure, but responsibility. Responsibility to use what arrives with awareness rather than impulse. The chosen one understands that what comes easily now requires steadiness to remain. Steadiness is built through attention, not control. You do not need to restrict yourself. You need to remain conscious. You may notice that this moment does not trigger exaggerated emotion. There is no rush of excitement followed by fear. Instead, there is a grounded sense of confirmation. Confirmation that movement is occurring. Confirmation that alignment is active. This emotional regulation allows you to make decisions that support continuity rather than short-term reaction. This phase also highlights how your internal authority has strengthened. You are not seeking permission or reassurance to trust what is unfolding. You trust your judgment. You trust your pacing. This trust prevents missteps that come from acting too quickly or too cautiously. Balance is present. Before checking, before reacting, there is value in acknowledging what has already shifted internally. You are no longer measuring worth through external confirmation. You are no longer equating resources with identity. This separation is healthy. It allows you to receive without attachment and to use without fear. Funds being credited is not an endpoint. It is part of a flow that responds to how you manage attention, intention, and responsibility. What arrives now is meant to support movement, not distraction. It supports structure, not excess. The chosen one recognizes that resources are most powerful when they serve clarity rather than noise. You may also sense that your relationship with time feels different. There is less urgency to act immediately. You understand sequence. You understand that timing matters as much as action. This understanding protects you from decisions that feel right in the moment, but create instability later. This first part is about orientation. Orientation toward awareness, restraint, and grounded confidence. Nothing here requires urgency. Nothing here requires display. What matters is how you hold this moment internally. As this opening phase completes, remain present. Let understanding settle before action. From here, the message will continue to unfold, guiding you deeper into clarity around value, stewardship, and the role this moment plays in a larger pattern that is still forming, quietly, steadily, and with intention. As this awareness deepens, the chosen one may begin to recognize that funds being credited marks a transition in stewardship rather than a moment of reward. What arrives now is not meant to change your pace abruptly. It is meant to confirm a shift that has already occurred in how you relate to value. You are no longer operating from scarcity or urgency. You are operating from discernment. Discernment allows resources to be used intentionally rather than reactively. In this phase, you may notice that your first impulse is not to spend or secure, but to pause. This pause is not hesitation. It is calibration. Calibration ensures that decisions are aligned with longer-term stability rather than short-term relief. The chosen one understands that momentum is preserved when action follows clarity, not impulse. You may also sense that your priorities feel clearer. Certain options no longer appeal to you, even if they once did. This refinement is significant. It means that what arrives now will not be scattered across distractions. It will be directed toward what supports structure, continuity, and growth. Resources follow focus. When focus is refined, resources remain effective. There is often a noticeable shift in confidence during this stage. Not confidence that seeks validation, but confidence that rests. You are not proving capability. You are demonstrating it through restraint. Restraint is not limitation. It is control guided by awareness. The chosen one recognizes that restraint protects future flexibility. Emotionally, this phase tends to feel steady. You are not overwhelmed by the presence of resources, nor are you anxious about maintaining them. This balance allows you to think clearly. Clear thinking ensures that choices made now do not require correction later. Stability compounds when decisions are made from calm awareness. You may also notice that your relationship with planning becomes more precise. You are not over-planning or under-planning. You consider next steps without projecting far beyond what is relevant. This precision prevents mental fatigue and keeps engagement practical. What arrives now supports action that is grounded, not speculative. There is also an increased respect for sequence. You understand that every resource has a role and a time. You are not rushing to assign meaning or purpose immediately. You allow understanding to form. This patience protects you from misallocation. The chosen one knows that timing determines impact. This stage may highlight how much your internal authority has strengthened. You trust your ability to assess without external input. You are not seeking reassurance or comparison. This autonomy allows you to remain centered as circumstances shift. When authority is internal, pressure loses influence. You may also feel a deeper sense of responsibility that does not feel heavy. Responsibility feels appropriate. It aligns with capacity. You are not carrying what does not belong to you, and you are attentive to what does. This alignment prevents overwhelm and supports continuity. As this second part unfolds, notice where your reactions have softened and your responses have sharpened. This is a sign that integration is active. What arrives now is being absorbed rather than reacted to. This phase emphasizes stewardship over excitement, clarity over urgency, and sequence over impulse. From here, the message will continue to unfold, guiding you further into understanding how this moment fits within a larger pattern of stability, trust, and sustained alignment that is still developing, quietly and deliberately. As this integration continues, the chosen one may begin to see that funds being credited is not meant to shift identity, but to reinforce responsibility. You are not becoming someone new because resources arrive. You are being asked to remain who you already are, with greater clarity. This distinction matters. When identity stays stable, resources strengthen rather than distort direction. In this phase, you may notice that your attention moves toward preservation rather than display. You are less interested in proving success and more attentive to maintaining balance. This orientation protects what has arrived. The chosen one understands that what is shown outwardly is less important than what is sustained quietly. There is often a refinement in how you assess value during this stage. Value is no longer measured solely by size or speed. It is measured by usefulness, timing, and impact. You ask different questions now. Not how much or how fast, but for what and for how long. These questions indicate maturity. Maturity ensures that resources support continuity. You may also feel a shift in how you experience security. Security no longer feels tied to immediate confirmation. It feels internal. This internal security allows you to hold resources without fear of loss or urgency to protect them aggressively. Calm stewardship replaces defensive management. Emotionally, this phase often feels grounded and neutral. You are not overly celebratory, nor are you cautious to the point of restraint. You remain balanced. This balance allows you to think beyond the moment. When emotion is regulated, perspective widens. You may notice that your sense of pacing continues to align. You are not rushing decisions to capitalize quickly, nor are you delaying action out of uncertainty. You wait until clarity signals movement. This pacing ensures that what you do next supports stability rather than volatility. The chosen one recognizes pacing as a form of intelligence. There may also be an increased awareness of long-term structure. You begin to see how what arrives now fits into a broader framework, a framework that includes responsibility, planning, and sustainability. This awareness prevents fragmentation. Fragmentation weakens momentum. Structure strengthens it. You may find that external opinions carry less weight during this stage. You are not seeking validation for how you handle resources. You trust your assessment. This autonomy reduces noise and keeps focus clear. When focus is clear, decisions remain consistent. This phase can also bring clarity around boundaries. You become more selective about what you engage with and what you decline. Not out of fear, but out of alignment. Boundaries protect capacity. Capacity ensures continuity. As this third part unfolds, recognize how your relationship with resources is becoming quieter and more deliberate. This is not detachment. It is mastery forming. Mastery does not announce itself. It reveals itself through consistency. This part of the message is about stabilization of value. What has arrived is finding its place within your existing rhythm. From here, the unfolding will continue, guiding you further into long-term clarity, measured action, and an understanding of how this moment supports a larger pattern of stewardship, balance, and sustained progress that is still taking shape. As this stabilization continues, the chosen one may begin to notice that the presence of resources changes how you listen to yourself. Decisions feel less emotionally charged and more intentional. You are not negotiating between urgency and caution. You are evaluating based on clarity. This clarity creates space between impulse and action. In that space, wisdom operates. What you choose now reflects discernment rather than reaction. In this phase, you may recognize that discipline has become more natural. You are not forcing structure onto your behavior. Structure is already present because priorities are clear. This internal order supports consistency without rigidity. The chosen one understands that discipline rooted in clarity feels supportive, not restrictive. There is also a noticeable shift in how you perceive opportunity. You are no longer drawn to everything that promises growth. You are attentive to what aligns with stability. This selectivity protects momentum. Momentum preserved through alignment lasts longer than momentum driven by excitement alone. You may notice that your confidence expresses itself through patience. You do not feel the need to move quickly to validate progress. You allow developments to mature before acting on them. This patience is not hesitation. It is timing awareness. Timing awareness ensures that actions taken now do not require correction later. Emotionally, this stage often feels even and contained. You are not oscillating between optimism and concern. You remain centered. This emotional balance supports clear thinking and steady engagement. When emotions are regulated, resources are managed with care rather than urgency. You may also observe that your sense of accountability deepens. You take responsibility for how resources are used without attaching pressure or guilt. Accountability feels neutral and constructive. It allows adjustment without self-judgment. The chosen one recognizes that accountability strengthens trust in oneself. This phase can bring clarity around long-term direction. You are not mapping every detail, but you understand the general orientation. This orientation guides decisions without requiring constant planning. When direction is clear, details arrange themselves more easily. You may find that your attention is less scattered. You are not monitoring multiple possibilities simultaneously. You focus on what is relevant now. This focus preserves energy and prevents dilution of effort. What arrives now supports engagement that is intentional and measured. There is also a subtle strengthening of boundaries. You are clearer about what you will support and what you will not. These boundaries are not defensive. They are protective. Protection ensures that resources remain available for what truly matters. As this fourth part unfolds, notice how steadiness replaces vigilance. You are not guarding against loss or chasing gain. You are present with what is. This presence allows resources to integrate naturally into your life. This phase emphasizes measured confidence, patience guided by clarity, and engagement without pressure. From here, the message will continue to unfold, guiding you further into refinement, consistency, and the quiet mastery that develops when resources are managed with awareness, restraint, and long-term understanding. As this refinement continues, the chosen one may begin to recognize that resources now respond to how calmly they are held. You are no longer gripping tightly or watching anxiously. You allow what has arrived to settle into place. This ease does not indicate indifference. It indicates trust. Trust that what is present can be managed without tension or overcorrection. In this phase, your relationship with planning becomes more fluid. You are not locking yourself into rigid strategies or avoiding structure altogether. You create space for adjustment. This flexibility allows plans to evolve as understanding deepens. The chosen one understands that adaptability protects long-term stability more effectively than strict control. You may notice that your internal dialogue remains quieter when decisions arise. There is less debate and fewer conflicting impulses. This quiet allows discernment to operate cleanly. When the mind is clear, choices become simpler. Simplicity reduces error and preserves momentum. There is also a growing awareness of proportion. You recognize what deserves significant attention and what does not. This proportional thinking prevents overinvestment in minor concerns and underinvestment in what truly matters. Resources are allocated with intention rather than reaction. Emotionally, this stage often brings reassurance without complacency. You feel secure, but not passive. You remain attentive, but not tense. This balance supports engagement that is sustainable. When emotional energy is balanced, focus remains intact. You may also observe that your sense of worth feels independent of fluctuation. External changes no longer influence your internal stability as strongly. This independence allows you to remain consistent even when circumstances shift. The chosen one recognizes that internal stability is essential for responsible stewardship. This phase can also bring clarity around patience. You are no longer tempted to rush outcomes to confirm progress. You trust sequence. Sequence ensures that each step supports the next, without collapse. This patience allows resources to compound rather than dissipate. You may find that your communication around resources becomes more deliberate. You share selectively. You explain only when necessary. This discretion protects focus and reduces external interference. What is managed quietly often stabilizes more effectively. There is also an increased respect for maintenance during this stage. You recognize that consistent care prevents future correction. Maintenance does not feel burdensome. It feels appropriate. The chosen one values maintenance because it sustains continuity. As this fifth part unfolds, notice how confidence expresses itself through restraint rather than assertion. You are not announcing progress. You are preserving it. Preservation allows growth to continue without disruption. This phase emphasizes stewardship that is calm, adaptive, and grounded. From here, the message will continue to unfold, guiding you further into consistency, foresight, and the steady composure that allows what has arrived to remain aligned, useful, and supportive over time. As this final phase settles, the chosen one may begin to recognize that stewardship has become intuitive. You are no longer consciously managing every detail or monitoring every outcome. Awareness has replaced vigilance. This awareness allows you to notice when adjustment is needed and when stability should be preserved. You act without tension. You pause without doubt. This balance reflects maturity. In this stage, your relationship with control has transformed into trust, paired with oversight. You are not relinquishing responsibility, nor are you tightening your grip. You are allowing systems to function while remaining attentive to their integrity. This approach prevents both neglect and overreach. The chosen one understands that longevity depends on guidance rather than constant intervention. You may notice that your confidence now expresses itself through consistency. You show up with the same clarity regardless of external variation. This reliability strengthens outcomes quietly. When responses remain steady, progress compounds without drawing unnecessary attention. What is sustained does not need to be defended. Emotionally, there is composure. Success does not inflate identity. Fluctuation does not undermine confidence. You remain centered. This emotional regulation preserves judgment and protects momentum. When emotion is integrated, decisions remain clean and proportional. There is also a refined sense of timing present. You recognize when action will add value and when restraint will protect it. This discernment prevents misalignment. The chosen one values timing because it ensures that what unfolds remains coherent rather than fragmented. You may observe that your attention remains focused on essentials. Peripheral concerns lose urgency. You invest energy where continuity is strengthened and withdraw it where distraction persists. This selectivity is not avoidance. It is stewardship of focus. Focus conserved becomes capacity available. This phase often brings a quiet satisfaction. Not excitement, not relief, but a grounded sense that things are functioning as they should. This satisfaction supports patience and humility. It allows you to continue without forcing acceleration or fearing loss. You may also recognize that what has arrived fits naturally within your life rather than disrupting it. Integration feels smooth. This smoothness confirms that readiness was present before arrival. The chosen one understands that when readiness precedes arrival, stability follows. As this sequence completes, there is nothing left to finalize dramatically. What needed to settle has settled. What needed to align has aligned. You are not waiting for confirmation. Confirmation is evident in ease, clarity, and sustained balance. There is nothing here to rush and nothing to hold back. Movement continues at a pace that matches capacity. What unfolds next will do so in response to clarity, rather than urgency. From this place of steady awareness, the chosen one continues forward with calm intention, prepared to maintain, adjust, and protect what has arrived, guided by discernment, consistency, and the quiet confidence that stewardship is now a lived practice, rather than a task to perform. As this final layer integrates fully, the chosen one may begin to notice that even the idea of having received no longer carries emotional charge. The moment has settled into normalcy, and that is its strength. What has arrived does not sit apart from your life as something fragile or exceptional. It belongs. This sense of belonging indicates that readiness was already present before arrival. Nothing here feels out of place or premature. In this stage, your attention naturally returns to coherence. You are not fixated on the resource itself, but on how it fits into the larger rhythm of your life. You notice how balance is maintained through small, consistent choices rather than dramatic decisions. This awareness protects stability. The chosen one understands that continuity is preserved through daily orientation, not isolated moments. You may also recognize that your sense of confidence has become quieter but deeper. You are not reassured by the event itself. You are reassured by how calmly you responded to it. This response confirms trust in your own judgment. Trust built this way does not fluctuate with circumstance. It remains available. There is a noticeable ease in how you relate to responsibility now. You do not feel the need to overmanage or disengage. You engage appropriately. This appropriate engagement preserves energy and prevents both excess and neglect. The chosen one recognizes that balance is maintained by proportion, not intensity. Emotionally, there is steadiness. You are not replaying the moment to extract meaning or reassurance. Understanding has already integrated. When understanding integrates, repetition becomes unnecessary. This allows attention to remain forward-facing rather than reflective. Progress continues without friction. You may also notice that your sense of timing feels increasingly accurate. You are not rushing future decisions because of what has arrived. nor are you delaying out of caution. You move when clarity is present. You wait when clarity is forming. This responsiveness keeps movement aligned with capacity. This phase often brings a subtle refinement of values. You become clearer about what this resource is meant to support and what it is not meant to complicate. This clarity simplifies decisions. Simplification reduces error. The chosen one values simplicity because it protects sustainability. You may find that your interactions with others remain unchanged in tone and intention. There is no need to announce, explain, or justify. This discretion preserves focus and prevents unnecessary external influence. What is stable does not require validation. As this sequence concludes, the significance of the moment reveals itself not through excitement, but through continuity. Life continues smoothly. Responsibilities are met. Decisions remain measured. This smooth continuation is the confirmation. There is nothing here to accelerate and nothing to defend. What has arrived is supported by awareness, restraint, and steady engagement. It is being carried, not tested. And as this final part settles, the chosen one moves forward with quiet assurance, aware that this moment was not about change, but about confirmation. Confirmation that readiness is active, stewardship is embodied, and what has arrived will remain aligned because it is being held with clarity rather than urgency. As this final stage completes its integration, the chosen one may begin to notice that attention has returned fully to the present moment. The arrival of resources no longer occupies mental space or requires monitoring. It has been absorbed into your existing rhythm. This absorption is meaningful. It shows that what has arrived does not create imbalance or distraction. It supports continuity rather than interrupting it. In this phase, awareness feels settled and expansive. You are not scanning for signals or guarding against change. You trust the structure that is now in place. This trust allows focus to remain on what is constructive rather than reactive. The chosen one understands that when focus is steady, outcomes remain stable without constant oversight. You may also recognize that your sense of satisfaction is understated but durable. There is no need for affirmation or reinforcement. What feels right does not demand acknowledgement. This quiet satisfaction supports humility and patience. It allows progress to continue without pressure to escalate or display. There is a refined ease in how you relate to future planning. You are not projecting far ahead to secure reassurance. You address what is relevant now and allow the rest to unfold in sequence. This approach preserves clarity and prevents unnecessary complication. The chosen one values sequence because it keeps movement grounded and coherent. Emotionally, there is balance. You are not attached to the moment, nor are you dismissive of its significance. You recognize its place within a larger pattern. This perspective allows you to move forward without lingering or rushing. Perspective stabilizes engagement. You may notice that your internal dialogue remains supportive and quiet. Questions arise and resolve without tension. Doubt does not take hold. This mental steadiness protects judgment and ensures that decisions remain proportional. When the mind is clear, action becomes accurate. There is also an ongoing respect for maintenance. You understand that continuity is sustained through consistent care rather than dramatic intervention. Maintenance feels natural. It aligns with responsibility rather than opposing it. The chosen one recognizes that what is maintained with attention remains aligned over time. As this sequence reaches its conclusion, nothing feels unfinished. There is no sense of anticipation left unresolved. Preparation has transitioned fully into participation. You are not waiting for the next confirmation. You are living within alignment. There is nothing here to accelerate and nothing to hold back. Movement continues at a pace that matches capacity. What unfolds next will do so in response to clarity rather than urgency. From this place of grounded awareness, the chosen one continues forward steadily, holding what has arrived with composure, discernment, and trust, knowing that alignment is not something to chase or protect aggressively, but something that is sustained quietly through presence, responsibility, and consistent clarity.